All right, guys, welcome back to another exciting one. So today we want to understand what file handling really means. What is file handling in Python? Imagine you want to write something on a paper, like you really want to write something on a paper. Maybe you have a jotter. You just put something on that paper, and after that, you feel like you need to save the file. You need to read what is inside, and you need to update, and you need to delete. How can you create that in Python? And that is exactly what we want to take a look at. So in today's class, we'll be able to create a file. We'll be able to write on that file. That's magical. We'll also be able to read from the file and also see if we can probably update or delete. All right. So how to work with files in Python. So let's just go deep. If you want to work with Python, you use what is known as, let me just run this. You use what is known as open function. All right, so what do I mean by this? All you have to do is just say now, let me create a file. Open function really means you just type open, because function is anything that has open and closing brackets. Open, then inside that thing, you will create a file name. Like, let me just put something. It's just an illustration on how to make it work. Maybe your file name is create a file or something. Maybe you just want to just give it any name. And that name, file name, and then we'll have a mode. So sorry, this is supposed to be mode, not modular. My bad. So I'm going to explain what it means. Don't worry, just observe that right now. So if you want to probably list something in your notebook, so that's how to do that. Just have something of, like an asterisk, and just run it. It's going to make it like a list. You can see. So file name, then you now have a mode. I'm just trying to explain this so that you will pretty much understand what it means to create a file. All right. So, and this is going to be a mode. So what does this really mean? Okay, let me just make it something like a list, or should I use a comment? Let me use a comment. All right. So you use open, which is the function, and you have a file name, and you use the mode. So what are the mode? If you use R, that means you are reading from a file. If you use W, that means you are writing, or probably, let me say, you overwrite. Okay. And overwrite. Okay. You understand everything as we move on. So what does M mean? That means you are appending, that means you are adding a file. Okay. You add a file. So we're going to do this practical, and if you are creating, you have to create a file as well. So what does this really mean? Let's create a file. All right. But before I proceed, what does that really mean in illustration? Let me show you. Imagine you are having it at the back of your mind that you want to create a file. You want to create a file, and this is just like an imagination. This is you. So how can I create a file? How can I create something like a file in Python where I will be able to write on the file? And if I feel like I need to edit, you can also edit from that file. And if you feel like maybe you need to add or update, you can also add or update. And if you feel like, you can delete the file. You can delete the file. All right, that's exactly what we're trying to do right in there. So you've having it at the back of your mind that you want to learn how to create and write on that file. And probably if you want to edit, you can easily edit. Handwriting is very bad. And if you want to add or update, sorry, let me be very legible. Add or update. This is edit. This is write. How will you make that work? That is what we want to achieve. Okay, so don't overthink. All right, so let's write on a file. Okay, let's write on a file. Okay, how can we do that? Let's write on a file. Okay, let me just say writing on a file. writing on the file. Okay, how can we do that? Okay, what we're going to do is that we are going to create a code to make that work. And we'll create a variable, let's call it file, which is what is in our head. And after that, we will now use the open function that I told you. Okay, open. All right, then what is the name of the file? Let me call it document. Document. All right, but I have to add something like the text, which I want it to be in text, like a file. So then, because I want to write on that file, I'm trying to write on the file. Then I will now use a module called write, which is W. That's exactly what I'm trying to do. So what I'm doing right in there, let me comment, is write on a file. Do you understand? Okay, good. So after that, what we're going to do right now is that since we have initiated that we want to write on a file, we create this open function. Then we can now proceed and say then that you have created the file variable, then it's high time you start writing on the file. So what we're going to do is that because I want to start writing on the file, imagine what I'm going to say. I'm going to say write. So if I should say write, then what do I want to write on the file? Then it's going to be what is inside. I'm going to say, hello geeks, I love Python. I love Python, not Python snake, Python programming language. Then I can decide to move to the next line. You will see something like backslash and n. Okay. And I want to ask you a question about it. I will now say file again. I will say write. I will just say what about you. So what about you? Okay, if I should do this, definitely that means I want this to be like something that will be created in my document. And but every time I finish writing, you need to close the file. So then I'll this close. All right, don't forget the name of the document is, the name of the file is document, and these are the two things I've written in there. And let's close the file. Let's try it out. All right, I'm gonna say, you know what, I want to run the code. And let me say run the code. Okay, something really happened. Okay, it said name document is not defined. All right, so what I'm going to do is that I want to see what really happened. Document. Okay, I understand what happens is because I did not put this thing in quotes. Okay, here we go. Let's run it again. Voila, you can see everything works perfectly well. And what I'm going to do after that is that I'm going to go back to my home, Jupyter. You can see the document has been created, doc text, and if the moment I open it, let's see what is inside the document. Okay, you can see say hello geeks, I love Python. What about you? I made a mistake. I want to say hello, not L geeks. I know if someone is actually watching this live, you have let me know that it's L geeks that are right. I want to say hello geeks. So let me rename it again. Let me run it again, brother. And let me just load the browser again. You can see hello geeks, I love Python. What about you? And what about you supposed to be a question mark? I just want to make sure that you can see that this thing is working. That's what I'm trying to write again and again. All right, this is fun. This is pretty good. What about you? Let's check it out. This is awesome. You're making something great. What about you? If you like Python, let me have that in the comment section. Okay, that's brilliant. All right, that's how to really write a file. So you can actually read from a file as well. So you don't need to go back to the entire document, like you know what is inside. Reading means you just want to see what exactly is inside the file. Okay, you want to see the content. Okay, all right, so that is what it means. All right, so what I'm going to do is that this is written the file. This video might be a little bit longer, so just hold on. I just want to be rest assured that you understand what you're writing. So, all right, I'm going to say you really want to read a file right now. That's exactly what you want to do. So what we're going to do is just to type file again, and you say equals to, then use open. When you use open, why am I typing open? Then you have the same thing. Then what is inside your file is document.txt. So what I'm going to do is just to copy this, okay, because that is a document, and I'll paste it there. But this time around, you're not using W. You're going to use R, okay. All right, so you're going to use R. So the moment you use R, that means you are reading the file. Let me just comment it. What does it mean to read from a file? You see what I'm talking about right now. So I need to put this entire thing inside another container, which is a variable. Let me just say content equals the file. All right. So the moment I do that, but what am I doing with the file? I'm reading the file. You can see that is what it means. Then is that time we print out something. Let's print out content. Okay. I will just say print dot, and what am I printing? Let me print the entire content that is from the file. Yeah, and let's see what it means. But before you do anything, just ensure that you close the file so that everything will be perfectly run. Everything will run perfectly. You can see, instead of you to start checking it from here, you can literally see it from here. So if you change this thing to anything, Python is very lovely, and you say, I can't wait to start building project. All right, so let's run this code. Then if I want to read from this file now, I will just run this code. Python is very lovely. I can't wait. I wonder why I make spelling error. Don't mind me. I'm just so anxious right now. Can't wait to start building project. So that's how to read from a file. All right. Another thing I would like to show you is that I want to see how you can probably adjust something, like maybe let's say append from a file. Okay. Appending means just edit something. Okay. All right. Just put something inside of it. All right. So that is what it means. Okay. Or what we're going to do is that right now, let me use the word append. Use append. What it means, you're going to see it right now. All right. So let me just show you. So what append means at the top is adding a file. You're adding something to it. Okay. And I think we've successfully done that before. Okay. We've not done it. Okay. Let's just do that. Append. Okay. Append. Okay. So what it means is that let's run the code. Then don't forget that it is the same file that we're using. That's why it is just adding it up. So I'm going to say file again equals open. I really like that open of a thing. I'm just opening the entire file and putting something in there. Don't worry, it's document, and don't worry, it is append, which is A. So the moment I do that, I'm just going to copy this thing again, and I'm going to paste this thing inside. I'm going to say, you know what, this time around, I really want to, add to it. And I'm going to say file, what is in that file? And I'm going to say write, because I'm appending this time around. And I'm going to say, I am learning file handling. This is file handling, okay? I am learning file handling. So the moment I do this, you always try to close your file. All right, good. So the moment you do that, let's run the code. So nothing happens, everything is intact. If you really want to probably print out your file, you can literally print it out, but I don't want to print it out. I just want to go here. I want to see what happened in the back end, like I used to think. I am learning file, and you can see it adds to it, but this is not on the next line. If you want to put it on the next line, so what you're going to do is that just see if we can just say to the next line. Oops. See if you can put it on the next line. All right, put it on the next line. Come on, can you just put it on the next line? Okay, I think, okay, I'm learning file handling. Okay, it's duplicate it for me. Okay, I think I have to do that from this top so that I can move to the next line. So that's exactly what I want to. If you run it from here, if you can just run this from here again, it's okay. And if you can now run this, anyways, you can decide to print the entire file. No worries, but I just want to make something to come to the next line. Well, if you like, you can leave it. I'm learning file and again, see it's moved to the next line. So that backslash and n is moving to the next line. All right, another thing I would like to show you is that you can check if the file exists, and it's just going to tell you if the file exists, and you can also delete the file. All right. So, but if you want to really check if the file exists, you're going to import OS. Okay, then check if the file exists. Check if the file exists. Check if the file exists. All right, let's move to the next line. Like I said, it's going to be a little bit longer. I'm going to say import OS. So what does import OS really means? Let me just show you on Google. All right, import OS from Google. You can see, meaning, all right, miscellaneous operating system interface, file names command. So if you want to do anything with file, so it's good to use import OS. All right, I don't want to say much about it right now, but let's just focus on the fact that you want to control files in your operating system. So if os.path, what this thing is telling us that if os.path, you don't really have to focus on this. I just want to show you exists, just type the code and see it run. Exists. Then if the OS, which is the path exists, which is this document, if this document really exists, true, if this document is really exists, then what are we going to have? If this document really exists, then remove it. I want you to print yes, it exists, and if it doesn't, then say it doesn't exist. So that is exactly what it means, just as simple as pizza. All right, then print document exists. I'm just trying to use it for next statement. Document exists, and exist. Okay. And because we are printing, don't forget we put column here. Then if it doesn't, else document not found. Okay, print document not found. Print document not found. It's a little bit longer. I really want to make it like that. You're learning how to code. Not valid. All right, so let's run this code. So we want to check if this document really exists. Okay, document exists. So another thing is that I want to carefully delete document this time around. Yeah, I want to delete documents because I'm done with everything. So let's delete the documents. Okay, you can see this is very interesting. Then I'm going to import OS again. Import OS. Import OS. I believe you understand what import really means. It is a module that we use. Then if again os.path, which is the entire code, exist, then I'm going to put that document in there again. Here we go. This is brilliant. Then what is going to happen? Then if it exists, do two things for me before you. os.remove. I want to remove it this time around. And what I want to remove is the entire document. I'm just going to put it there. Then print file deleted. Print document deleted. Deleted. So okay, and else, are they being what I'm doing is not wrong? Is not wrong? Is not right? Definitely. Then let me just say file not found or document not found. Print document not found. Yeah, you need to learn how to really type code, because sometimes, okay, there's an error, part exists. So if OS part exists, all right, supposed to be S. Yeah, document deleted. Supposed to be document deleted. Yeah, documents. My bad, document deleted. All right, because I've deleted the document, if I should run this code again, it's going to tell me that document not found. Honestly, yeah, let's just run it again. Document not found. So I believe you've successfully understand what it means where you really want to work on file handling. I'm sorry the video is a little bit longer. I don't have any choice other than to make you really understand it. So what have you done successfully? We're able to imagine how to create a file, and we're able to write on the file. We're able to write on the file, and we're able to edit, add or update, and also delete a file. That's exactly what we're able to achieve right now. So thank you guys for watching. And in the next tutorial, we're going to dive into something awesome. We're going to take a look at what class and object really means in Python. And until then, see you in the next one. Cheers.